I want to tell you something I think you need to hear. That feeling that you should have it more together than you do, that you're the only one holding it together on the outside while quietly struggling on the inside, almost everyone around you is living that same thing. And almost nobody is saying it out loud. Not your colleagues, not the leader you admire, not the person at church who always seems to have it together, not the friend who looks like they're thriving on social media. Almost all of them have a version of what you're carrying, and almost all of them are carrying it alone. I want to talk to you about why that is, and what it costs, and what becomes possible the moment you decide to stop. I'm Brian Nichols, founder of Solving for Change, and I want to describe a performance that a lot of driven, capable people give every single day, sometimes without even realizing it. It's the performance of being fine. Somebody asks how you're doing, you say, good, busy, but good. They nod, you nod, the conversation moves on. And the thing that's actually going on, the season of pressure, the quiet anxiety, the feeling that you're not sure how much longer you can sustain the pace, stays exactly where it was. Private, unspoken, yours alone to carry. And here's what makes it hard to stop. The people around you are giving the same performance. So the reference point for normal is everyone else's highlight reel. And against that reference point, your real experience feels like a deficiency, like something you should be ashamed of, like something you'd better handle before anyone notices. I've coached enough leaders and high performers to know that this is one of the most universal experiences in the room and one of the least talked about. The struggle isn't the exception, it's the norm. The isolation around it is what isn't normal. And that isolation has a cost most people never fully account for. Here's the reframe. C.S. Lewis, one of the most beloved writers and thinkers of the 20th century, wrote something about friendship that I've never forgotten. He said that friendship is born at the moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." I love that. Because that moment, the moment of recognition, of shared honesty, of you carry that too, is the moment isolation ends. It doesn't require a long conversation or a formal support system or years of trust. It just requires one person being honest enough to say the thing out loud and another person being present enough to respond, "Me too." Most people go their entire lives without experiencing that moment in any meaningful depth. Not because the people around them don't share the struggle, but because nobody goes first. Here's what I want you to consider. What if the struggle you've been carrying alone is the exact thing that could connect you most deeply to the people around you, if you are willing to name it? What if the thing you've been hiding is the thing that would make someone else feel less alone? That's not a small idea. And the research behind it is some of the most important work being done in human psychology today. Brene Brown is a research professor at the University of Houston who has spent over 2 decades studying human connection, what creates it, what destroys it, and what the people who experience it most deeply have in common. When she started her research, she went in looking for a formula, the pattern, the thing that separated people who experienced rich, meaningful connection from people who felt isolated and disconnected. She interviewed hundreds of people. She coded thousands of data points. She was, by her own description, going to crack the code on connection. What she found surprised her. The people who experienced the deepest, most consistent connection in their lives, she eventually called them wholehearted people, shared one defining characteristic. It wasn't success. It wasn't confidence. It wasn't having it all together. It was a willingness to be seen, including and especially in their struggle. They were the people who said the hard thing out loud, who admitted when they were overwhelmed, who asked for help before they were drowning, who brought their real experience into their relationships instead of the curated version. And the people who struggled most with connection, they shared one characteristic too. They kept the struggle hidden. Brown eventually landed on a word for what keeps people in hiding: shame. Not guilt. Guilt says I did something wrong. Shame says there is something wrong with me. And shame, she discovered, has one critical vulnerability. It cannot survive being spoken out loud to someone who responds with empathy. The moment you say the thing, the real thing, not the I'm fine thing, to someone who listens without judgment, shame loses its grip. It doesn't disappear overnight, but the isolation that feeds it breaks. And connection, real connection, becomes possible for the first time. Brown's TED Talk on this research became one of the most watched in history. Not because the idea was complicated, because it named something millions of people have been living but couldn't articulate. You're not alone in your struggle. You're alone in your silence about it. And those are completely different problems with completely different solutions. So what do you actually do with this? Here are 3 things that make the real difference. Number 1, name the cost of carrying it alone. Most people don't consciously choose isolation. They drift into it, one I'm fine at a time. And because the cost is invisible and incremental, they rarely stop to account for it. So let me name it. Carrying the struggle alone is exhausting in a way that compounds. It's not just the weight of the thing itself, it's the energy required to manage the performance around it, to hold the face, to keep the story straight, to make sure nobody sees what's actually going on. That energy comes from somewhere. And it usually comes from the relationships, the presence, and the capacity that the people who need you most are supposed to be getting. The spouse who gets the depleted version of you at the end of the day. The kids who know something's off but can't quite name it. The team that can feel the tension but doesn't know what it is. The cost of I'm fine isn't just yours to pay, it ripples. Naming that cost, really looking at it honestly, is the first step towards deciding to do something different. Number 2, you don't need a crowd, you need one person. Here's something that relieves a lot of pressure when I share it with the people I coach. You don't have to overhaul your entire life. You don't have to join a support group or go to therapy or suddenly become an open book. Listen, those can all be good things, and they all have their place. But the research doesn't require any of that. It requires one person. One person with whom you can be honest. One person who will receive what you're actually carrying without judgment. One trusted relationship where the I'm fine performance is off the table. For some people, that's a spouse. For others, it's a longtime friend. For others still, it's a mentor, a pastor, a coach. The point isn't the category. The point is the honesty. One person, one real conversation. That's where shame loses its grip and connection begins. If you don't have that person right now, that's worth paying attention to. Not as a criticism, as a signal. Because the absence of one honest relationship is itself a cost that's been quietly compounding. Here's the good news. Many of you already have that person in your life. And if so, I just want to encourage you, make the call, send the text, schedule some time together. Stop waiting for the right moment. And if you're genuinely in a season where you don't have that person, I don't want to just leave you there. That's part of why we built an elite membership tier at Solving for Change that includes monthly one-on-one private coaching sessions with a dedicated coach. Because some people don't just need a community. They need someone specifically in their corner, and honestly, you deserve that. Number 3, there's something powerful about a room full of people who understand. Here's what goes beyond the one person. There's something qualitatively different about bringing your struggle into a room or a call or a community with people who are navigating similar territory. Not people who feel sorry for you, people who understand you. People who have been where you are and can say with authority, me too. I made it through. Here's what helps. That's not therapy. That's not weakness. That's one of the oldest and most powerful forms of human growth that has ever existed. It's why the best coaches don't just work with people one-on-one. They build communities because some things can only be learned in the presence of others who are doing the same work. At Solving for Change, one of the things I'm most proud of isn't just our curriculum or our tools, it's the live group coaching sessions where members come together, not just to be taught, but to be known, to bring the real thing into a room full of people who get it, to hear someone else say, "Me too," and feel the weight lift a little. Community isn't a bonus feature of growth. For a lot of people, it's the thing that makes growth possible at all. If this video resonated with you today, I want to make sure you leave with a clear next step. Go to solvingforchange.com and take our free assessment. It's going to help you get an honest picture of where things actually stand in your life right now, the areas where you're strong, and the areas where the weight is heaviest. And sometimes, just getting that clarity is the first step toward not carrying it alone anymore. It literally takes about 2 minutes. It costs nothing, and it gives you a personalized picture of exactly where to start. Not a generic answer, your answer. The link is in the description below, and if you're watching on your TV right now, the QR code is on screen. Take it right from your phone. And if you want to go deeper, a Solving for Change membership includes live group coaching sessions where you can bring the real thing into a community of people who are doing the same work. Along with weekly masterclass training, My Daily Compass, and more, you don't have to figure this out alone. Here's what I want to leave you with today. Brené Brown spent years studying the people who experienced the deepest connection in their lives. And what she found wasn't that they had easier lives or fewer struggles, they just stopped pretending they didn't. They found the courage, and it is courage, to say the real thing to someone who could receive it. And in doing so, they discovered that the very thing they'd been hiding was the thing that connected them most deeply to the people around them. You don't have to have it all together. You never did. But you do deserve people around you who know what you're actually carrying and who choose to walk with you anyway. The only constant in life is change. But when it hits, you don't have to carry it alone. I'll see you in the next video. If this one landed for you today, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot more coming, and I want you to be here for it. And if you know someone who's been quietly struggling and carrying it alone, share this with them. Sometimes the most important thing we can do for the people we care about is to let them know they're not alone.